Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Side of Hustle, a chance for me to sit down with some friends, some colleagues, discuss small businesses, big businesses, their stories, and how they got to where they are now with that business. Hopefully going to expand their network, expand their community. Today I'm joined by a very good friend who I met a few years ago. She is in the health and wellness space, all encompassing of that title. Please welcome my good friend, Nicole Simonin. How are you, Nicole?
I am doing fabulous. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to chat with you.
It's an absolute pleasure. As we were just saying before we started here, the first time we've known each other about 3 years or so now, and this is the first time we've interacted, talked sort of face-to-face, which is very cool. We met over Veda, vlogging every day in August back in 2017. Let's just touch on that for a quick second. Like, what was it like vlogging for someone who had never done it before?
It was crazy. I was just like, I don't even know why I decided to do it, but I was like, let's just try it. It was intense. Like after, day 20, I'm like, okay, what can I talk about? And it's not like I don't have a lot of topics, but it was just like, you just had to put one out every day. It was an interesting, eye-opening experience. And I'm grateful for the experience because I met you and I met a couple other ladies. You're not a lady. I've met a couple other people.
Last time I checked, I wasn't. But I understand what you're saying.
But it's interesting how, the handful of people that I met on that, we still stay in touch, which I think is pretty awesome.
It's very, very cool. Now, obviously, we don't talk frequently, but we talk enough where I've been keeping up with everything what's happening. Before we go into all of the big things, because the time we're in, I have to ask, how's life in New Jersey during quarantine?
Right now, outside of my little bubble, the numbers are going up.
Sure.
So it's a little tentative. Like, I am definitely staying home and I'm okay with that because I never realized how much a homebody that I actually was. So so my 2 kids are here. They're doing homeschooling. I'm not homeschooling them. They're old enough where they can be independent. That's but cool. I'm actually feel like I'm kind of thriving in this pandemic because I've really kind of dived in. I know we're going to talk about it, but I really have dived into my podcast and I've got some things going on and just my whole approach to my business. I feel like this was the time for me to kind of dive into it. And I'm glad for this time that I have.
Your business is Shape It Up Fitness. So I definitely feel like it's one of those businesses that at this point in time, people are really looking for and turning to, especially YouTubes and podcasts and videos to go, okay, I'm at home, I'm sitting all day, I'm eating horribly. How do I get back on track and what do I do? And you're definitely one of those people that I look to for my own personal health and wellness. I know you mainly deal with a lot of with women over 40. That's sort of your target audience.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, let's go back. How did you find yourself in the health and wellness fitness space?
Well, one of the things that we were talking about off camera was a lot of people don't know the side of me. When I was 17, the doctors basically said I wouldn't be able to walk and I would be blind. Long story short, turns out I can walk and I'm not blind. Though over 40, though, I do need reading glasses. But I actually, it was about 9 months of my life that were tentative and not really knowing what was going on. But I wound up going on to dance scholarship at Radford University. I became a professional ballet dancer all through my 20s. And fast forward, I stopped dancing and then I went into physical therapy. So I'm a physical therapist assistant. And at the time I was working as a PTA and I was also running the gym side of the same place. And I had always wanted to be a trainer. A funny story, when I lived in Annapolis, Maryland, I used to work at this place, and I don't know if it still exists, but it's called the Big Vanilla, and it was a gym. And their logo was a big ice cream cone. So I don't know whose idea that was. One of my friends was a trainer there, and I was like, that's such a cool job. And fast forward, I had gotten a training certification through American Council on Exercise while I was in the physical therapy schooling. Then when I got married and I had my son, I kept telling everybody in the physical therapy that I was like, I'm coming back to work. I'll be back. And then I had my son and I was like, I'm not going back. I just can't. It was just so hard to, leave that little nugget at home. Sure. And that was how Shape It Up was born. So I kind of developed it out of the need to get out of the mommy mode and kind of socialize with adults.
Mhm.
And ironically enough, I started off doing online training. And back in 2006, it was really challenging and clunky. Like I even coded my own website back then. So it was like
Well,
a
so
lot of
trial by
work.
fire, you learned by doing. It was like you had to figure it out, so you just did it.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess at the time I enjoyed it because it was something that stimulated my
Sure.
brain rather than Sesame Street. Not that I didn't love being with my kids, but it
Right.
was, you know. So I started Shape It Up. And then when I had my daughter, I was like, I got to get out of the house. So we did Mommy and Me boot camps for a number of years. And it kind of evolved into like a woman's boot camp as the kids got older.
Gotcha.
Then it shifted into private training. I
Okay.
had a studio for a short amount of time. And then back to private training. I do train individuals at my house. And I'm really diving into the online again. So
Sure.
I'm like full circling.
Full circle, yeah.
Yeah. But the technology today is so much better. Like
It's
I have
great.
my own app where I can design programs for everybody. And I do a lot of mindset coaching and like the psychology part, because I really feel like that's the missing piece between everything, because you can go grab a generic workout, you can go grab a diet, and you can follow it even for 12 weeks and be successful. But a lot of people fall off of it. It's because you haven't changed your mindset around it. You know,
Right.
it's more like trying to white knuckle through everything.
So
So
actually, let's
that's where I'm
focus on
at
that for a
today.
second. So you said it's sort of customizable. They come to you. You go, these are the things I want to do. These are the things that I'm trying to fix or cure, for lack of a better term. What's that process for you? Like, what work on your end do you do to go, okay, I know X, Y, Z of what this person needs?
It's really talking to them and kind of finding out where they are. Like, so I meet them where they are, and then we find out where they want to go.
Sure.
And I just fill in that whole process in between. So, and I think some people think it's just, oh, well, I just need a program, you know, and I'll follow it.
Uh-huh.
But I could give you a program, but if you're not following it, that's where the mindset kind of inserts itself. So when a client comes to me, I basically meet them where they are, and then we figure out where they want to go. And that middle piece is where I come in. And you definitely need nutrition, you definitely need fitness, you need to move your body, but you really need that mindset, because it's really like we know to move more and we know to eat less, but
Sure.
why don't we do it? You know, and that's the mindset part.
Yeah. Because it's easier not to than actually do something. What is the advice for changing that mindset? How do you power through those it's easier to not questions or statements?
I find that, so like what if you follow me for any length of time, you'll hear me talk about the primitive brain and like your sophisticated brain. So the primitive brain is the part of our brain that is like, you know, it wants to eat food all day long, it only wants to procreate and basically keep you alive. So if you even venture out of that cave, it's like, nope, bad idea,
Right.
don't do it, you know. But then you have the other side of your brain, which is sophisticated brain, which is like, that's like your cheerleader, like, oh yeah, let's level up, let's become better than we are. And you're constantly kind of fighting between the two sides of your thoughts. So when you kind of look at if you can separate your circumstances from your thoughts, I think that's a big part. So meaning if somebody's like, well, I'm just overweight, that's a circumstance. It's what you think about being overweight, which will drive you how you feel about yourself, and then what you do afterwards. So if you have a negative thought of being overweight, like I can't do anything or something like that, it's going to affect, it's a trickle effect into what actions you take.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're overweight and you think, I'm overweight now, but I can progress to whatever, that's where all the mindset and the shifts happen. And it's really, really customized to everybody, because everybody has different experiences, everybody has different belief systems. So it's really kind of peeling back the layers of the onion and finding out really what it is that individual client needs.
Right. Especially in this time of quarantine where, like, again, it's a circumstance. We're in it because we have to be. Again, I've mentioned to you before that, like, just April I spent kind of anxiety ridden, depressed and whatever. And then you wake up one morning, make that snap and flip. And then things like this happen where I start doing an interview show that I never expected to do. I've always wanted to do, but found myself having the time. So once you commit to that other side of comfort, I think that's really where change can happen, right?
Yeah. And I think too, like, you can have there's two types of comfort. There's the comfort that keeps you where you are.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sorry, discomfort. There's two types of discomfort. So the discomfort of where you are right now. So say you're overweight and say you're sitting on the couch and, you're not socially distancing from your refrigerator right now and you're just very uncomfortable. That's one kind of uncomfort. The other kind is where you're uncomfortable, where you're working out and you might not be eating the foods that you necessarily want to eat or whatever, but you're uncomfortable and it's getting you to a goal rather than it's just leaving you the same and you're just kind of stuck on this hamster wheel where you just keep going. Oh, well, I can't lose weight. I can't, it's kind of spinning.
So as I mentioned before, your primary target audience has been women over 40. Was that intentional to do that, or did it just sort of kind of work out that way?
It was intentional because most of my career as Shape It Up, I just focused on women. Mm-hmm. And when I turned 40, which was quite a few years ago, I'm creeping up to the other side, but I just found that there wasn't a lot of information out there for women over 40. And I don't know if it's because women over 40 are not as involved in social media or the internet. I know there are some, but obviously 20-year-olds are definitely, the majority of people that are on social media. But I found that, like, if you Googled, how to get fit over 40, really, you guys had the market. There were tons of things for guys getting fit over 40, but not for women. So, and there are some shifts that happen. And I think the women that I talk to on a regular basis, not necessarily clients, they're constantly like, well, I'm over 40 and it's all downhill. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. like, how do you want to ride out the rest of your life? Do you want to just sit and just kind of accept whatever comes your way? Or do you want to keep my philosophy is I feel like I always want to keep leveling up. I want to be that 90-year-old woman that is able to open her spaghetti jars and not need any help. And I want to be able to be independent, So that is my driving goal. But yeah, so I definitely kind of tweaked everything to women over 40 because I feel like, most of the fitness realm I feel is very focused on 20-year-olds, some 30s like moms. But yeah, 40, it can still happen. I have clients that have lost 90 pounds. I have clients that lost 40 pounds and they're all over 40. So it is possible.
And I, totally agree. I'm creeping up on 40 myself going, I really don't want to be like this anymore. So with that space, with that bracket of age group, there's a lot of people who are involved in those network marketing, even we'll call them direct sales to be even kinder, where there is a lot of, certain products or certain workouts or certain this. Have you found legitimacy to any of those things that they actually help in the process, or is it simply working against us sometimes?
I used to actually belong to it was Shackley. If anybody's, usually the older people know Shackley, but, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with Shackley at the time. I had gotten into it because the marketing people that I was working with, they were like, oh, do this. And, you can kind of give them vitamins and protein shakes and stuff like that. And I have always been a big non-supporter of have a shake, another shake, and a healthy meal at dinner.
Right.
You need to eat the way you're going to live your life. So if you're going to eat shakes for the rest of your life, go for it, but if you want to actually eat food, it's not to get off on a tangent, but people who are thinking about surgery and, the lap band and stuff like that, where you're forced to eat these tiny minuscule pieces of food for the rest of your life. There's an alternative. This is why the mindset part really comes in. But so I was with Shackley for a number of years and I enjoyed their protein shake, but I never really kind of pushed it on people. I was like, it's here if you want it. I like the taste. Sure. I enjoyed the protein shake, but then they changed the formula and then they got really markety with, kind of the shake healthy meal thing. And I was like, I'm out. Yeah. A lot of people who are doing like Melaleuca or some other, they love to hear that I'm a personal trainer because as soon as they do, they're like, by the way, and I'm like, no, sorry. I don't necessarily agree with them just for the fact that like, now don't get me wrong, I do eat protein shakes. I drink them, whatever, or make them into things. But you can get one of those, like the brand I get is Tone It Up. It's at Target. And I get it because I like the ingredients. There's really not much sugar in it, and it's monk fruit sugar. And I like the taste. So I do tell my clients about that, but I don't sell protein powders or anything like that. And I feel like, again, it's really got to fit into your life. And I think that when you go in, having been on the inside, like they kind of brainwash you a little bit, like this is awesome and this is, you know, an ideal situation and you're going to make loads of money. And that's not always the case.
Exactly. I was gonna say, that's the thing. There is a difference between the people who love the product and will happily talk about the product versus the business end of it, which are two separate conversations in the space. Obviously, we're gonna segue now into a brand new thing for you, because the talking about the food lends itself into your newest venture. You just released a cookbook.
I did, and
Let's talk about that now. Ari, let me forgive me for my lack of knowledge. You're not a nutritionist, is that correct?
I have a background. So here's the thing. Nutritionist defined by law, you could say you're a nutritionist even if you don't have any background, especially in New Jersey. Each state is a little different. So check.
It's going on my resume then. So that's perfect.
Yeah. Like you can be an RD, which a registered dietitian, they are the only ones that by law have a degree, a license, and all that. The company that I go through for my health and wellness, my personal training, they do have a nutrition aspect involved in it. And so again, depending on where you live, you have to look. And look and really see who you're dealing with. The cookbook itself is not I don't give prescribed. Even with clients, I don't give prescribed, this is exactly what you eat. I give them templates. And like, this is what you can do. One of my big philosophies is there's no foods off limit, which I think everybody's like, what?
I'm down for that. That sounds fantastic to me.
Yeah. Because what's your favorite food?
It's pizza. Actually, I think pizza and chicken wings. I think chicken wings are pretty high up on the list there.
So now if I told you, all right, Doug, you cannot have pizza ever again and you can't have chicken wings, what is the first thing that you're going to do?
Well, forget it.
Right.
I'm going to go have my last meal.
You might be like, okay, I can do this for a week. And then you will contact every drive-through delivery place in, a 5-mile radius and you'll just eat pizza and chicken wings. And I think that's a big thing for people. That's the mindset part. Like you're resisting. And now you're going to overeat and you're going to binge. I know we got off on a tangent. What were we talking about?
I was about to bring you back to it. So the cookbook. So we top nutritionists talk about that nothing's off limits. So through this whole space of better health and wellness and better mental health and better all the things, like how did you decide to create the cookbook, and then B, what went in the cookbook?
So this cookbook has actually been in the works for quite some time. It has, I actually designed parts of it about 3 years ago. And so now it's just compiled and out there now. But the reason why I designed it is because I really hate food logging. I can't stand food logging all the time. And for me and my clients, I found it hard. So I'm the philosophy, like you should be eating when you're hungry, like your stomach is growling. If you're not eating when your stomach is growling, you're eating for emotional reasons. That's that side of the mindset. But what I find for me is like, if I have just meals that are super quick and easy to kind of put together, it keeps me on track. So what I will say about this cookbook, it is for the non-chef. Like if you're a culinary artist or you are looking to, become the next Food Network Chopped star, this is not your cookbook. So I do a lot of what I call power cooking. So I'll give you a little inside of the cookbook. So I go into detail about how to power cook. And so I really hate doing dishes. I will try to cook everything in one pot or one thing so I don't have to clean.
Yeah.
Because we do have a dishwasher, but long story short, I don't use the dishwasher, so I am the dishwasher. So the less time I can spend washing dishes, the better.
It's become storage more than anything else.
Honestly, it's where we keep all our party stuff. All our plates and and cups and stuff. But so the book really, again, is perfect for the person who's really busy and doesn't want to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. These are not complicated meals. A lot of times, like I said, I power cook, so I will and it's not like I'm power cooking for 6 hours on a Sunday. I will tend to make a bunch of things all in one shot. And then what I do is I kind of grab and go throughout the week, and I just put my meals together.
Gotcha.
So it's not the cookbook for everybody, but again, it's somebody that wants to grab, go. It's a lot of single serving ideas. You can absolutely, if you're feeding 4 people, you just multiply that by 4. Okay. But yeah, that's how that came out. I'm also someone who, when I see a recipe and it's got 5,000 ingredients and 5,000 steps, I just glaze over and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, over the years, my dad was a chef. He always cooked the family meals. And so we've collected tons and tons of those celebrity cookbooks. And I open it and go, this is like Russian. This is foreign language. I don't understand any of this. So when I open up chili, I'm like, oh, I know I can do chili. Chili, I can put together. Yeah. Easy. What is the book? What is the title of the book?
The book is called The No Fuss, No Mess, Shape It Up Cookbook. And right now it's available on Kindle.
Okay.
And it will be available on hardback soon, but just Kindle right now.
Okay, sounds good. I'll get all those links from you later. We'll put them in the description and all the things. So again, we're in this time. You're doing the cookbook. You're doing YouTube videos as well. Are we doing workouts on those videos, or are we just sort of just discussing them?
Now, if you go to my YouTube channel, you will see some workout videos. They're pretty short. You will definitely, I have a whole exercise library of videos. So if you're looking for little things to put together, but when I'm the type of person that I like to zig when everybody else is zagging, everybody and their brother is putting out workout videos and stuff, and go for it. I have no problem with that. But I'm not. I am. I just started my podcast, which is not just a podcast, but it's also, I put it on YouTube. So those are my videos. And basically it's just chatting, kind of like we're doing right now. I'm bringing on guests to kind of give their side of the story of whatever they're doing. Some are fitness and health related. Some are not. Some are just this is the business that I grew, and, just kind of to inspire people and to help kind of spread the word, about other people's businesses, because in this time, I mean, there are people that are spending money, but there's some people that are not spending money, and some of those businesses are being affected. So when you are ready, you'll know about whoever, is on there. But so that's what the videos have been, is the podcast.
I was going to bring up the podcast and the fact that you started off, did they start as fitness and health and wellness, or did they always collectively? So how did you make that? So again, mindset transition. What was the decision to go from your niche to just kind of opening the door? So
I had been thinking about doing a podcast since last fall. And I joined the local chamber, and I started networking with different people and getting out and just meeting different people. And one of the guys that I met does this awesome podcast, and I can't think what it's called off the top of my head. I think it's called Cooper Talks. He actually interviews B actors, which is pretty cool, or actors from the 80s, or he had Sophie B. Hawkins on. Anyway, so there's a little plug for him. But I was talking to him, and I found out he did the podcast, and I was like, can I pick your brain, because I'm thinking about it. And so we met up and we were talking about it, and he was like, well, when are you starting? And I was like, oh, I don't know. This is December. And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, oh no, you're making a decision today and a date of when your first podcast was going out. And I was like, oh. So I was and it was 2 weeks later, and I was like, all right, I love when people do that, because it holds me accountable You know, it's one thing for ourselves to be accountable, but it's another thing when somebody's like anticipating. Yeah. So I started in January, I think the 7th, and I started doing fitness and, you know, nutrition and mindset.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, I think I should have some guests. And then of course, COVID kind of kicked in, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely having guests, and just kind of, So now I'm doing 2 a week.
Okay.
One is an interview, and one is health and fitness related, me.
Tips and tricks and all the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm really enjoying it though. I really like the podcast aspect of it. I love like talking like this to people and getting to know their story, because everybody has a story. Everybody has something. Yeah. It's been pretty cool.
And that's one of the reasons I started this. Like I said, like I've had some people reach out and go, hey, we want to do the thing we want to sell. And I'm like, whoop, nope, that's a word I don't want to use on this. It's not, I mean, cool. We'll talk about things you have, obviously your book and the whatever, but I love knowing the story. I'm a big why. I'm a big how person. I like those answers or those questions rather. And so yeah, everybody I've reached out to has had incredible stories that I was unaware of. Is there someone you've had on that you've known for a long time that suddenly vomited this, started like, oh my God, I had no idea that was the background?
Recently connected with a lady, and I actually did an interview with her today. And I was just amazed, like I've only known her for 2 weeks, but I feel like I've known her forever.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Yeah. And it's interesting because she, when she started with her story, like I got the full story today, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. We should have talked about this long.
Right. Why were you holding out on me?
Yeah, exactly. So where do we go from here? What's the next steps for Shape It Up Fitness and etc. at this point? Because you got a lot going on.
I do have a lot going on. I think actually I do have something in the works. It's called Crush Your Cravings. It's a masterclass, and that will be coming out. Okay. And I'm excited about that. So that is, I think, very timely too, because again, you know, socially distancing from your refrigerator at this time, or putting those sweatpants on that now feel like Lululemon, you know, pants. They're a little snug. Yeah, so I have that coming out, but I'm really kind of shifting into working with people online more so, because I don't know when in-person is going to come back into, and I really love the mindset. Like I really love coaching people with consults, you know, because we do this, like we talk to the clients, or I talk to the clients when, you know, they sign up, and it's nice because it's one thing if you're talking on the phone, you can't see their expression, you can't see, you know, their body language. So it's just fascinating, the technology that we have today, and how, and I guess everybody got a taste of that because of COVID, because we've now been kind of forced to virtual meetings and things like that.
I've used to say, like, everyone made such a big deal about how bad social media was for our interactiveness and for our social aspect of everything. And now without it, I don't know where we'd be. I don't know who we'd be talking to. So it's funny how it all kind of comes full circle. Let's talk real quick, some tips, some tricks to this time. What is your advice for staying happy and healthy at home?
There's, depending on where you're at, like if you're in full-on fetal position and really devastated by what's going on,
there's no hope.
Take some small steps. I really think, going back to what I said earlier, is, you know, really looking at what are the facts, taking control of what you can do in the situation realistically, you know, because we get to think whatever we want. So like, and I'm not saying you have to dust, you know, pixie dust on it and make it all glittery and happy Pollyanna thoughts. It's not about that. It's just knowing that you get to decide what you want to do at this time. And you get to decide how you want to come out of this at the end too. I mean, if you're steadily gaining weight and that's not what you want,
right,
you get to decide what you want to do at that point. So just take it slow and, you know, try to think what you want to happen at the end of COVID and maybe even further. So, you know, this is just a small timeline. It's a blip in our existence, hopefully. And, you know, you get to decide how you want to approach the situation. And those are my tips.
It's all mindset, really. And it's, you know, when you decide to make the change, that's when it means the most. And when setting that date, like you were talking about before, your friend saying, when you're starting, and you're like, no, put a date to it now. Like,
right.
Make that list, make that commitment to those changes you want. Where can we find you? Where's all the details?
Definitely head over to shapeitupfitness.com. That is my hub, so you can find out anything there. I am on LinkedIn a lot more nowadays. You can also find me on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, also on YouTube. I think I'm on Pinterest too. But generally speaking, I'm on LinkedIn right now. So that's the way to connect with me. But definitely shapeitupfitness.com is for sure to find out all the information.
Perfect. We'll put all those links in the description down below, so it's nice and easy to find Miss Nicole. Thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to share with us before we sign off? Maybe anything we didn't cover that you really wanted to make sure we touch upon?
I was going to say, and this might resonate with you, but I can't wait for Disney to reopen.
It's funny you say that because literally everyone else I've talked to, I know either from Disney or have some sort of Disney connection. So I'm thankful that you said Disney at the end here because that's another one of our connections. Everyone seems to have a Disney connection somehow. When's the last time you were down here?
Ooh, last fall, my husband surprised me for my anniversary, and it was just the two of us. It was very nice. We snuck down and had a very nice time. We ate at some beautiful restaurants that I didn't know even existed at Disney. It was very nice.
We can have a restaurant this conversation all you want.
I got addicted to I love Joffrey's coffee there.
Uh-huh.
And so he's been buying me Joffrey coffees from Disney, which Kona coffee.
All the things.
Very good.
Well, good. Well, hopefully we'll see you down here again soon. We'll actually be able to meet face to face and have
that'd be nice.
Some time together. Anything else? Anything else? Last minute things outside of wanting Disney to reopen?
No, I think just be patient with yourself in your journey, no matter what is going on. And if you do need kind of a fire lit underneath you, come head over. I do offer a consult, and we can, talk through some things. And if you're ready to get started, I'd be happy to help you out.
Love it. Thank you so much, Nicole, for your time today. Guys, thanks again for watching. The YouTube mantra: like, subscribe, comment, share, all the things. All the things. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.